am so excited to have London and Erika here. These are mothers within the JHD, Juvenile Huntington's Disease Community, and fierce advocates and for their children. And so I would love to kind of start off with hearing your stories and what has happened, what has transpired, and where you're at today. So London, would you like to start?
So Autumn was diagnosed with juvenile Huntington's disease when she was 11, going on 12 years old, and she was diagnosed early in the stages of the disease. She was, but things have changed a lot in the past 5 years, and as of now, things are getting much more difficult. Her speech is very hard to understand. She needs help with, everything, basic necessities, eating, drinking, starting to worry about, even that. She's choking a lot on things, falling a lot. So, progression of the disease, but we just got to take it one day at a time. And that's what we do. So her father passed away from Huntington's disease in 2018. So Justin was 36 when he passed away, and he had a CAG of 59. So Autumn has a CAG of 72. Yeah, but I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Erika, do you want to tell us a bit about your story?
Sure. My name is Erika, and my daughter Olivia, 16, diagnosed with JHD. She was diagnosed right before her 13th birthday, so at the age of 12, with a CAG of 78. We live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Her father was diagnosed when she was 5 years old. We had no idea it ran in the family. His father had passed away years before. So we had no concept of Huntington's. He passed away at the age of 47, and that was 3 years ago. Olivia is a junior in school, so she's still in school. She's on now a participation certificate. Went from straight A's to now a participation certificate, goes for socialization. She needs help with everything. We have been blessed to actually have a nurse for part of a nurse that's with her at school, and a nurse that we have part of the time at home, so I can still work full time, since North Carolina doesn't want to pay parents to stay home with their child. Everywhere, I think it is. And she needs help with everything. We did put a G-tube in her 3 years ago, just because it was recommended by her neurologist. She had gone down to 72 pounds. So at almost 5 foot, she was 72 pounds. She only ate certain things. So we put her on a G-tube. So now she's like 90% G-tube fed, but she does have, at night, she will have cheese puffs and dessert, anything that is soft enough for her to eat.
Yeah, well, cheese puffs are also my favorite, so I'm on the right track with that.
Except for the cheesy fingers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We had to go hunting cheese puffs down in Sacramento, I think.
Yeah, we did.
That's wonderful. What was going through your mind when you found out? Maybe it was part of that process of finding out, like, okay, their father has it, that means they're at risk, versus like when your child was actually diagnosed with juvenile Huntington's. Erika, if you want to start.
When he was diagnosed, and then I started doing a little bit of research, I found out that the children could inherit HD 50-50. I was very, upset about that. And when I found out that JHD was a possibility, I couldn't believe it. But when I saw that the statistics were so low and how rare it was, I didn't think it was a possibility. And to be honest, Olivia is a clone of me, and Joey, my 21-year-old, is a clone of his father. And myself, my mother, we worried about Joey, to be honest, because he was exactly like his father. So I figured Olivia would never, I just figured it wasn't going to happen. Little did I know that it actually did. And it was the worst thing in the world to ever hear that. And you go through a roller coaster of emotions.
And what was the signs? What were the signs that you saw? that kind of made you start wanting to?
So I guess with Olivia, I mean, after hearing all these other parents talk about behaviors with their kids, there were a lot of behaviors when she was like 11, but I also thought it was just a girl fighting with her mom. So I don't know if that pertained to it, but I noticed when she was doing homework one day, I think she was in the end of 6th grade, beginning of 7th grade, end of 6th grade, and she was doing homework, and she was left-handed, and I was watching her write, and she's writing with her right-handed, and you can't read anything that she was writing. So I'm questioning her, why are you using your right hand? Why, stop messing around, just get this homework done. And she's telling me that she can't use her left hand anymore, that she can't write, she can't hold a pencil, and her hand hurts. And so I look at her left hand and I realized her knuckles are curled. So I went to bend them to be like, thinking she was playing games with me, and they wouldn't bend. So her knuckles wouldn't bend. And that was when I knew something was up. She had had braces because she had a huge overbite because she sucked her thumb forever. And we had braces put on her top teeth, and she all of a sudden started slurring her speech. So I thought, well, she didn't really slur her speech in the beginning when she had the braces, but I thought maybe now she was. And once the braces came off right after, and we realized her speech wasn't getting any better. So we took her to the pediatrician, and because of the diagnosis of her father, they referred us to a neurologist. And from the neurologist, we went ahead and did MRI and tried to rule out everything else it could be before we decided to go ahead and do the genetic test. And in that time, while we were waiting for the genetic test to come back, her head, since she has really bad dystonia, her head started turning more to the left. So little by little, it would go like this till it was like completely sideways. Now it's like this, all the way down. So those were the definite signs that we saw in the beginning.
Thank you for that. London, can you talk a little bit about Autumn?
Yeah. Juvenile Huntington's disease, I had known when I met Justin, the kids' father, in 2002. He had told me about Huntington's disease. And this was before we even got pregnant with Logan, who's my oldest, who's older than Autumn. And he told me, and I still remember him telling me about it. He said that his mom had died of something called Huntington's disease. And it was possible that he could inherit the disease too. And if we ever had kids, then our kids could possibly have it. And it was like, it's just so weird because I could still you don't forget that moment. And that feeling of me just brushing it off, like, Huntington's, I've never heard of that before. Like, you're fine. Knowing what I know now, looking back at videos when I met him, he was symptomatic when I met him, and I had no idea. He had the earliest symptoms where you're kind of like, just little things. He could still talk normal, but he was already doing just those little ticks and stuff, the chorea that started when I met him, and I didn't know. But anyway, so then we got pregnant with Logan, and of course it was on the back of my mind. And I'm like, and pregnant with Autumn. Of course, years go on. Justin does have Huntington's. It does cross my mind. Oh my God, if he has it, then my kids might have it. But at that point, I'm thinking my kids might have it when they're older, much, much older. And, I'm like, okay. And that's when I started really doing a lot of advocacy stuff. In like 2012, I did a Care to Cure HD run and started meeting people in the community. 2013, went to my first convention. This whole time not having no idea about juvenile Huntington's disease, just trying to do whatever I can for the future of my children. So, as the years went by, I don't know if it was somewhere probably around, it didn't just happen overnight where I learned about it, but it was as her behaviors, she was just changing. She was just, it's so hard to explain, but it's, as a mother, that's not the way your child normally acts. And it just kind of, you're like, that's weird. And it was like one strange thing, another strange thing. And then it was, of course, behaviors, the outbursts and stuff. And then there was school. She always did really, really well in school. She got along with everyone, never fought with anyone. I never got any calls from the principal or any word about Autumn being like naughty or trying to be the class clown or anything. And those things started happening. And then comparing her handwriting. Anyway, this was probably over like a a year's period of like more and more things kind of adding up, and me being like, holy wow, okay, juvenile Huntington's disease really could be a possibility. And as her schoolwork, you know, well, it was actually her handwriting. That was like the ultimate thing, where was going through some papers in from first grade to now 6th grade. It was like wasn't the same person. It was like all this, it was perfectly neat. And I have pictures, I could send them to you. And at the time, I was also corresponding with Dr. Napolis about just little concerns I had here and there, behaviors and things. And so in 2017, we went to Iowa because Autumn and Logan had been doing the Kids HD study there for years, since 2012. So there's a center of excellence that has a pediatric neurologist that specializes in juvenile Huntington's disease. So she did an exam, looked over, you know, everything, and did have concerns about JHD. But at that time, we just ran some blood tests. We're like, you know, let's just kind of reevaluate. We get back in October. I went in for a parent-teacher conference, and just the look on the teacher's face, even, I just knew everything like all came crashing together. And her behaviors at school, her work at school she was just like totally refusing to do anything. She'd say it was just clear that like she needed help. And in order to get her that help, I needed to know if this was juvenile Huntington's disease or not. So, and at this time, I'd also had been in contact with Dr. Napolis and Dr. Matthews, telling them my concerns, telling them these things that are happening. And they said, you know, we want you to come back. So come back. And we went back December 4th of 2017. Well, I say she was diagnosed in January of 2018, because that's when I got the results, which I asked to get the results in the mail because we had already been to the university so many times. It was crazy. We just were back at the University of Iowa in November, and we were walking through the hallway, and we walked right in the exact part that I'll never forget. Like, I remember standing there and bawling my eyes out, and all these thoughts were going through my head, like all at once, like all these, you know, like, she's not going to get married. She's never going to be old. She's not going to go to prom. Is she even going to live to 18? Like, everything. And yeah, it was really difficult. I couldn't even, and you know, I mean, you've seen how much I advocate now. I was advocating before that for Justin, for them, but I completely shut down. I couldn't even say the words juvenile Huntington's disease without just having a complete meltdown and not making any sense at all, just crying, sad, I was a mess. And I think I actually, you know, I think I seen you guys, you saw me in that mess of a depression at convention in Boston. I was still in a period of that deep darkness and sadness. I remember being so sad and angry about everything, because it was the first time like changes were happening in Autumn, and like I felt alone. And then I just was angry at everything, and like nothing was going right. And anyway, it was still really hard, but it was actually after that probably made me want to start speaking up and talking about it, because if I wanted it, then I guess I got to start talking about it too. So that's when I was like, I got to start making like videos, like we got to get more advocacy and really start bringing more awareness to this disease, because I feel so alone, and I know I'm not alone. You know, I had to eventually just pick myself up, because you know, my daughter is dying, and I had to tell myself, like, if I'm sad, then she's going to be sad. Like, if I'm like, you know, and I got to be brave for her. And now we're brave for each other. You know, it's so funny. Autumn, if she sees me sad, she goes, does somebody need a hug? Like, somebody does need a hug all the time.
Autumn.
I will say though that I am thankful for London's videos in the beginning, because I didn't know London at all. After we got diagnosed and we went in for a checkup not long after, our neurologist in Charlotte said, do you follow London and Autumn on TikTok? And I'm like, no, I don't even TikTok. And I'm like, who's London and Autumn? So when we came home, Olivia started looking and found London and Autumn on the TikTok. And I watched a few. I still don't TikTok, so I wait for her to send them to me. But it was from there that I think then you saw me on post something or whatever, and then we were able to connect and you hooked me up with the support group. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you made it here and our doctor recommended you. So, I mean, I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful I got to meet you and we have a great friendship.
I am too. You know, I feel like I'm happy to. It's the only thing I can. If there's anything I can do, it's this, you know, it's this. And it is, I appreciate, I'm actually kind of speechless because it's nice to be able to connect people and to help them feel like they're not alone, you know, to compare stories and just and to be there for one another too. You know, the support group with Help for HD, it's a JHD caregiver support group, and we're tight, you know, and I wish more people would join because it really is helpful. It's, you know, there isn't a lot of people that can understand what you're going through, but you know, even if you just want to vent, or you know, sometimes it's just learning from one another. And Erika, and I'm sure Erika can second that, you know, just suggestions, different things, or just, I don't know, it's a great group.
Yeah, it really has been. And being able to, you know, go to those, you know, HD, you know, conferences and stuff like that that they put on has been amazing, because then we got to meet each other. I mean, it was just last year.
The first JHD, yeah, the first JHD conference. It was amazing. Yeah.
I imagine too that like, I know for me, like when I went to my first like support group locally, I was like, oh wow. So for the first time, like, you know, it's not just me affected by Huntington's, there are other people. But then I had the second wave of feeling like, okay, but none of these people are my age or are talking about testing and planning for their future. And like, and it was a weird where I felt like I had like this new family, but then I felt like simultaneously alone again. And then it was like,
yes.
when I went to convention and got connected with the National Youth Alliance, and I was like, these are people my age who like get it. And I could imagine that being the same, especially for families affected by JHD, because as long as I've been involved in the community, like, I love Autumn to death, and I know just I can count on one hand the amount of JHD children I know, and I need to know more, and I need to know more JHD families. So
yep. And you know, and since I've been trying to advocate and talk about it, more people are like, well, I want to tell my story too, which is great because that's how we all connect and are able to, you know, find the stuff that we need, you know, together. Together we are stronger.
I think you guys both bring up this incredible point where it's JHD is like this smaller population. They're your children.
Yeah.
They deserve to be talked about and have lights on them, and you as parents deserve to have that support and being able to support each other. And because I can imagine also is that everybody still has a bit of a different road, because from what you guys were explaining a little bit, I know that everyone deals with their child may be displaying some different forms of symptoms that might be very different from another child.
Yes.
But you are all connected by this disease, and you are fighting and you are loving, and still, you know, I know Erika, you mentioned that Olivia eats her Cheeto Puffs at night, and or it's her sweets at night, and Autumn, you know, was doing cheerleading, and you guys you're there to give those moments of joy day in and day out.
Yeah.
I wonder too, like, what do you know, I'm learning more about Olivia, and I know Autumn pretty well, but I'm wondering like what is their favorite things to do that I think from a parent's perspective you look at and you can have that moment of like, okay, you still get to be a kid. And because for me, I feel like when I'm caring for someone with HD or like seeing people with HD, it's sometimes hard to separate like them from the HD, and I still want to see them as a person and doing things that they love. So I'm wondering what those moments look like for you guys with Olivia and Autumn.
Right now, I think Autumn's like favorite thing to do just in general is to listen to music, to be quite honest. That girl loves Macklemore. She will listen to Taylor Swift like over and over and over again. And it doesn't get old. We'd love it. But I mean, the things that she loves to do are slowly being taken away. And Erika, I'm sure, can say, I know exactly what she's, because I know Olivia, you know, it's their favorite. She probably would have, by this time in her age, probably have a really cool favorite thing, but I don't know what that is because abilities are limited. So we just do what we can with what we got, you know?
Yeah, for Olivia, like her favorite thing growing up was we have a neighborhood swim team. And she loved swimming and she was racing and all of that. And then, you know, we had to stop because she couldn't do it anymore. But it's still really cool that the neighborhood swim team still gives her a t-shirt every year. And we still go and cheer on some of the swim meets. And her little shirt now says, you know, Planners Walk Coach. So she's got she gets a coach shirt. So, I mean, those normal things that she probably would have been on the swim team and doing things like that, she can't do. Her favorite thing, she is still in Girl Scouts because that's pretty easy. They've stopped like major camping, things that she can't do. So we can do things that she can do. But her favorite thing right now is, I mean, it's her physical therapy. We were on a waiting list for hippotherapy, and which is physical therapy with horses. And so we finally, after a 2-year waiting list, we finally got into that, and she's been doing it now for a little over a year, and it's like amazing for her. It's her favorite thing in the world to do. She, you know, they used to have her ride other horses, but her favorite horse is Fritz. Now they don't even try to get her to ride anybody else. And it's just, they'll send me pictures because I don't get to go all the time on videos. And just the way he nuzzles her when she kisses him, and it's like he's kissing her back, and it's just amazing. And she was featured as their Giving Tuesday person, and oh, here she comes. She was featured as their Giving Tuesday person, and Spectrum News, the local news, just ran a news story on her. She's gonna make a cameo as Olivia always does.
Olivia.
Hey, girl.
So you can cut all
Hey,
that out.
girl.
Oh, Olivia, you have the prettiest smile I think I've ever seen. Oh my goodness.
Such a
Yeah,
smile.
did you meet her in Nashville? I can't remember.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta see
Goodbye.
it.
You came all the way upstairs? What do you want? Your cheese puffs are gone? Oh, pizza's gone. Okay.
We talked all about your cheese puffs, Olivia. I know how important those are.
She's got cheese puff teeth right now. All right, maybe a couple more minutes and I'll be down in a few more minutes, okay?
Yes,
Right,
and
what-
then I don't know if I mentioned Autumn's cheerleading. You know, I think we were kind of talking about it a little recording, but Autumn loves cheerleader. You know, when she was little, she was on the junior cheer. She had to have been like 5 years old, and man, she was getting it, girl. She knew all the dance moves. And I was like, you know, I remember looking back like, oh my God, what if someday she really is a cheerleader? And you know what? She is for that team, but it's just different. It's a different experience for her, you know. I wish I could say the girls are like super supportive, but they're not. I mean, they're supportive to a point, not, you know, to my expectations, but I wish they'd be a team of above and beyond, take her in type of girls, you know what I mean? But I can only, you know, it is what it is. She always has lots of people cheering her on, but the just cheerleading itself is getting very difficult.
I think these are beautiful examples too of how, you know, obviously their ability to do something every year is less and less. And I think especially for juvenile Huntington's as opposed to adult onset, you know, it's really giving them those life experiences that a lot of us have growing up. And I'm sure as a mother, you want them to have everything, of course. And it's beautiful to see how there's been some adaptability where there's been things that changed, and you've been able to make these adjustments with like the swim team or the cheerleading team, but also new opportunities. I mean, for, you know, Olivia to be able to like do the horse riding and have a new horse best friend. And, you know, it's hard to highlight like these, you know, little good golden moments, but it's so important, I think, to like pick those out and highlight those at the same time as we talk about how difficult things are.
Yeah.
I would say if you had one thing to say to another parent of someone with JHD, whether it's about, you know, caring for your child, maybe caring for yourself, like where do you find time for you? how do you balance things? Like, what would be maybe like your one golden piece of advice or tidbit that would be something that you would want to have known from the beginning?
Erika, do you want to go first?
So I guess for me, you're not alone. There are people out there, even though you feel like you're alone, completely alone, since it's so rare, but you're not. So even though we all live all over the country, but those 2 times a month that we do get to join, has been a blessing for me. Just the times that we are laughing and crying and, and it's been a blessing being able to go to those conferences, but to, definitely find, if you have a child with JHD, try to reach out to the, support group. Everybody is wonderful, and has a lot of advice, and just to be there for you. I know that I don't really always take care of myself probably the way I'm supposed to. It's definitely hard, especially, being a single parent and doing it, but I go to work still every day, and that's a safety place for me. So I have I have time away from to be, fully here all day long.
When I first found out, like I was just saying, there wasn't any resources or anything out there for me. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I did help create those resources. So I'm glad that things like Erika's saying right now, that JHD support group is available. You are not alone in this community at all. And there are people, you just need to reach out, even if you want to join the JHD support group, and you don't really want to do the videos or do the Zoom calls. And by the way, which is the first and third Tuesday of each month. But you don't have to. You can just, some people just are in the group chats. There's people in their group that we've never actually seen on the camera. They've never, we're just there, and so it's just nice to have that and to be a part of that. But also, you could always check out our TikToks, because there's lots of videos. Again, not to plug myself, but from what I'm told, it's very helpful for people. So check out my TikTok, me and my daughter's TikTok page. It's at London and Autumn, because you'll find lots of stuff there, and videos on YouTube as well. But Help for HD has really helped create a lot of great stuff for the JHD community, and trying to get stuff together and really make some changes for JHD and the future. So right now they're probably, I would say, one of the biggest organizations really more focused specifically and focusing on juvenile Huntington's disease and helping these kids.
Well, thank you, ladies. We'll have the Help for HD after this video edited in, and thank you guys so much for being on tonight.
Cool.